Hey, what's up, y'all? Your boy Dumptruck here, and welcome to another episode of Chasing the Ride, brought to you by Rider Justice. I am joined by founder of Rider Justice, Mr. Scott O'Sullivan of the O'Sullivan Law Firm, and we are joined today with one of his cohorts, Mr. Eli Olhausen. Did I say that right?
Very good. Nailed it.
Nailed it. I studied so hard for that. And then we've got Trey Richardson, who is a big part of the community's used motorcycle market with Motorado.
Consignment too.
Consignment as well.
Our bread and butter.
I'm excited to learn about all of this stuff, you know. Scott, you've known both of these guys obviously for quite a while.
You know, Trey and I more recently, Eli now for how many years we've been
10?
working? Yeah,
we're
10,
still in the honeymoon
crazy.
phase.
We're seeing. That's right.
Yeah.
He looks super hot still.
I try not to talk so much. Bye.
So when did your life start to intersect with the motorcycle world? Do you ride motorcycles? That's the first question.
Yeah.
Love that answer. You can stay.
I started. My uncle bought a Kawasaki KD 175 when I was 12, and in a just moment of bad judgment, let me ride it. And I
love those days.
I tore up the hills of New Jersey until it finally got so broken even he couldn't fix it. So, but that's when I started, and then my parents wouldn't buy me a car, so I bought a bike, and I've been riding ever since.
And you grew up in Manhattan or
Brooklyn? I grew up in Brooklyn. Yeah, it was not a good riding environment.
No,
you know, I'd have to.
Just subway riding.
Well, I would ride that bike until it was so cold that I'd come to a stop, look up, and my hair had frozen, was jamming me in the back of my neck, and I'm like, okay, it's time to put it away for the winter.
Fine.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
And
then,
that's
cool.
Yeah. And then I bounced around jobs, and I finally went to the motorcycle mechanic school in Phoenix, and I got a job out of there at a small BMW shop in the Bay Area. And this was in '92, right before the dot-com bubble inflated, it went from a mom-and-pop shop with 8 employees to being the 4th biggest dealership, BMW dealership in the world, I think.
Wow.
It was quite a ride.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah. That's really cool. Now, how does that lead you to law?
Well,
funny
two things happened. One is
it sounds like what you see what had happened.
Well, the dot-com bubble burst, and instead of being in an ever-expanding shop, we were starting to contract, which was not nearly as much fun.
No,
I don't like laying people off, and I got into a motorcycle accident, and I went to a doctor, and he said, don't be a wuss, you're fine. Well, 6 weeks later, I saw a surgeon, and he said, well, if we had casted this right away, it would have been fine, but now you need a surgery, so my wrist only bends that far back now. And he said, the surgeon even said you should seek an attorney. So I had a medical malpractice case, and it was fascinating to me, and I enjoyed the fight, and I got a nice settlement.
You're scaring me now. I'm like, okay, we're on the same team. Don't forget. I know we were messing with each other.
So I got a nice settlement, and I could read the writing on the wall. It was not going to be a lucrative business to stay in, at least at that time. And I thought, hey, I'm as smart as those guys. I could practice law, so I used the money to go to law school, and here I am.
That is really cool. I like everything about that story. You're a very intimidating human being. I take almost everything back that I said. So how does Eli and Scott join forces?
Well, you had reached out while you're still in school, kind of looking for an internship. I had recently split off from my old firm, started the new one in 2008, and then you must have been a few years later. What year was that you were close to graduating?
So I think I was 2010 or 11 I interned with you, and then I graduated, and you had hired somebody already, so...
Right, and I literally didn't have the space at the time for somebody else, literally, not an office space. It was,
Yeah, so I knew I wanted to come to Colorado. I'd visited somebody, and I was out of law school. I could go wherever I wanted, so I relocated here, and I got a job at one of those big law firms you see on the billboard, which was good. I got a lot of experience really quickly. I had 120 clients, and it was crazy.
Wow, that's a lot to manage.
It was insane. And then one of Scott's paralegals, I guess you had an opening. Somebody was
it was this attorney that was with me. She was great. She wanted to get into more on the law enforcement side of things, and so she transitioned to that and called Eli, and now it's now 10 plus years later.
I know.
Wow, that's quite romantic.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Well, that's
This is
really
what we
rad.
aspire to.
yeah, right, exactly.
But he's also my champion.
Yeah, right.
I actually have an
be mine
active
as
case
well.
that he's helping me
Yeah.
with right now.
Yeah,
really?
he is a
Yeah.
client. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I really enjoy it. I've worked a lot of jobs. My wife calls me Forrest Gump because I've done so many things over the
Right,
years.
yeah.
You know,
and one of the things it really wasn't about to talk really about the legal stuff, because he's got so many crazy riding stories.
Right,
He like Forrest Gumped his way through all these different jobs, and it's just hilarious stuff, right? And that's what I thought would be also entertaining. Not that this isn't interesting.
It is.
But yeah. But
Dumptruck show.
You didn't hire me to not host the show.
But
Just because you know this shit doesn't mean I do.
yeah, that's true. I guess I know too much of it. But yeah. So, but with Trey, like my understanding is you've ridden all parts of the world. You were just talking about earlier, Argentina. Like, how did you get started in riding and the
When
world?
I was 4 years old, instead of getting a bicycle for my birthday, my dad got me a JR50. I'm from LA. He took me to Topanga Canyon Park, had a JR50 with training wheels.
Yeah.
Half hour later, those things were gone.
Yeah,
and I was making jumps and I was hooked. I always followed my dad hobbies, whether it was paintball or dirt bike riding. My dad used to race Baja to Mexico in buggies and motorcycles, so I just kind of followed in his footsteps.
Wow.
And so dirt bikes from 50 to 80 to 125 to 250. Then I joined the Army and I got out of that. When I got back out of the Army, I got into sport bikes, got into racing in SoCal in the West Coast area for WSMC and WERA. Found out, like, if you think of motorcycle racing like baseball, you have your club, minors, and majors. It's pretty damn good in the minors, but there was no way I was going to make it in the majors.
Right.
But I had fun, right? It was one of those things where when I decided to race, it was, I got this money saved. Do I buy a house or do I go racing? And I said, fuck the house. I'm going racing. Best decision of my life.
I like the way you make choices.
Yeah.
So when did Motorado become a part of your life?
So I bought Motorado about in May of last year, so just coming up on a year.
Fresh.
It's fresh. You know, my background is product development strategy and digital products, whole different world. I was either a consultant or working at startups, but I started to get this itch that I wanted to run my own business. And I mean, AC companies, accounting companies, commercial landscaping. I was looking at all kinds of businesses to buy because I know how much they fail up front, so let me buy something successful. And then I just serendipitously came across Motorado being for sale. And it all came
Motorado's
to,
been around for a while.
Yeah, Motorado formed by Ron and Hillary. They started in 13 years ago. Someone could do the math for me. But I mean, they built this beautiful thing, community-based, really family-run, and they built a house in Buena Vista. And with the commute, their kids becoming teenagers, they didn't have that bandwidth to do it anymore. And so they were looking for someone who could take the baton. And so that's what I've done. It ain't broke, so I'm not fixing it, but I am bringing my own flair to it, right? I really want to bring in the community more than it was before. I want to make Motorado a place where we're going to help you find the bike that's just right for you, not let me sell you this Yamaha because we're a Yamaha, or let me sell you a Harley because we're a Harley shop. Right. What kind of riding do you do? What kind of bike have you had before? What are you looking to do? Let's find that bike for you. And so just that family attitude, that mantra of bringing people to their bikes and bikes to the people, and not, sure, it's a business, we're selling, but it's really about connecting people to that ride.
Right.
We're almost like a dating site, but for motorcycles and people.
Who wants to survive by just pressure sales all the time? I mean, you could actually give someone a jump start on their motorcycle experience or the next step of their motorcycle experience just by shutting up and listening to see what they want and satisfying the need. Move on. That bike that you're supposed to sell will sell. You just got to find out who's supposed to ride it. It's not. These aren't cars. Like
we're matchmakers.
Exactly. I mean, cars these days are like super utilitarian. Some of them have attitude. Most of them are cut out of the same block. But motorcycles just aren't like that. They end up being an extension of you. So being committed to that side of the customer service it's also community related, which is dope.
And no one needs a motorcycle, and so that's what I love about it too.
You don't buy one because you need one. You buy one because you have to have one.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, right. Yeah, there you go. That's a better way to put it.
You could stay.
Exactly.
So that's what I like about it too, is like, we're talking passion. Like, selling a bike is the last thing we do. We just talked for the last 45 minutes about that fun time you dropped a bike down the road, or you pulled off the side of the road and rescued a rider, or just your best trailer you ever found to ride down. Then you're like, oh, I heard all that. Check this bike out. This might be really cool for you.
Yeah.
And it's cool when you're right too. It's like, it's always a question. A lot of people get peer pressured a lot of times to be told which bike they're supposed to be on. Oh no, you gotta have this, you gotta have that. Let me tell you what bike you're supposed to have. Those
Let
are
me
the
tell
first
you.
people to ignore. Because it's a singular experience.
Because how many do you have now in your garage?
I'm down to 5.
That's right. You're way below his threshold of 7.
One of my favorite memes of all time is where this guy is asking, hey man, why do you have 5 bikes? And he goes, I sold 3 last week.
Yeah, exactly.
What's your daily, Eli?
I've got a R1150 GS BMW, but I think my favorite bike to ride is an old XR650 I've had for about 20 years, and the thing looks like you pulled it up from the bottom of a lake, but it just runs like a Ray Tate. I used to, when I was in Northern California, I used to put a milk crate on the back with some, empty milk cartons and stuff in it, and go and give the guys in sport bikes fits.
That is awesome. I love that. How many stories does that bike have?
Oh God!
Can you tell it?
I've ridden that thing from Canada to Mexico. I've looped it out innumerable times, and you can't kill it.
It's like the Deadpool of motorcycles.
Yeah, pretty much.
What do you ride daily? I mean, I love how your energy of racing, because you're an energetic human being.
Yeah.
So, it's going to be really interesting to talk to you next year and see where Motorado is.
Absolutely.
Because getting hyper-focused, giving respect to the people that made it successful in the first place, and knowing that adjustments needed, not an overhaul, that's rare. A lot of people love making change for the sake of making change. No, it's mine now. Well, I'll see how that goes too. But what do you ride daily? What is
Daily, I have a 2006 Ducati Monster S2R.
Yeah.
Blacked out. The previous owner did miracles with that thing, whereas normally it has the on the side, the 2 exhaust top bottom.
Yes.
He put in the Termogamis underneath the seats. It's got Rizoma, everything. It even has a clear cover on the timing belt.
Yes.
That's
a sexy bike.
That's what I was riding when I got into my accident last year that Eli's helping me with. That's my daily. I used to have an SV650 that I made look like that bike when I couldn't find that bike.
That is rad. I absolutely love those monsters. They're just
air-cooled.
They're a motorcycle.
It's
not all of the stuff and the things.
No.
I love a lot of the
flare,
new bikes
all
and stuff like that, but when the second it turns into a video game, I kind of get lost a little bit. And even though they're way better machines, they're way more efficient, they're made to handle better than the stuff that I ride, the connection to the road to me is different. And I think that is where you live a lot.
This is my connection to the
road. Yes,
road.
Exactly. And the connection to the road that you're selling is typically going to be the used market, which are going to have a very different feel, and you're still a part of the experience. Those are the best bikes to me. They're fun, and there's always something different. What you sell everything from adventure to Harleys to
if it's got 2 wheels and even 3 or 4, we sell it. So every type of motorcycle out there, from adventures, Harleys, mopeds. We have tons of KTMs, BMWs. We got everything. We also do side-by-sides, ATVs, some razors, trailers. And in the wintertime, we just sold our last snowmobile for the season.
That's fun.
Yeah.
I used to live here, and a blizzard happens every once in a while. Kind of like clockwork. It's every 5 years or something like that.
Big ones,
It shuts the city down for a minute, and my favorite part of that experience was hearing the 2-strokes going all over the city. The Popo ain't got no snowmobiles in Denver.
Racing through
It's why is Wash Park all trashed up? Well, some of these people have toys in their garage.
Waiting to get out.
Yeah, that's fun. Oh man, I absolutely love snowmobiles.
So, you're doing stuff all over the place. You've ridden all over the place. What are 2 top stories just of misadventure or something just that made an impression, that what stuck you with riding, and also for the rest of your life? I think.
Why don't you go first, Eli?
All right. A few years back, I had a friend I used to go riding in Baja a lot with, and this was actually in the States, and he would get online and look at satellite maps, and he says, I think we can link these two riding areas together if we leave here, and this is all on public land, and we all have a plate on the bike, so it's legal. Fortunately, the topographic map didn't show everything, and
Sounds like an adventure.
yeah, it was adventure. It's like, wow, isn't that a beautiful sunset? Where the hell are we? We ended up. It got so dark we couldn't see, and you're in a mountainous area, and you don't want to get cliffed out. So we dropped a pin on the GPS and hid the bikes, and had to hike out. And this is down Southern California, like Anza Borrego area, so we're walking out. We finally get to where we have cell phone reception, and we have to call, the forest rangers. And the guy was pissed off because it was 2 a.m. and he didn't want to come out and get us. So we're walking through the desert towards the road, and my friend hits a cholla. This is, if you don't know it, it's a horrible cactus, and he gets really pissed off. And he goes, my other friend says, if you light them, they burn great. And he goes, what do you mean? He goes, watch this, and he gets a cigarette lighter, and it goes up like a Christmas tree. And we're like, okay. We keep walking, and I said, look, you can see our shadows. It must be dawn. And he goes, oh, wait a minute, that sun's going to rise over there. And we turn back, and the desert's on fire. So we're stomping things out, and as we're putting the fire out, we get a call from the ranger. He goes, is that your flashlight? Yeah, that's what that is.
It's primitive.
Yeah, we're going to be the guys running ahead of the forest.
12,000 BTU,
So we got as far away from the burn as we could, and they picked us up, and we were very contrite. And they nicely drove us back. And then my other friend had to come back. We had to hire a guy with a helicopter to get the bikes out. Yeah,
my gosh.
there was no getting them out of there because you drop down and you're not going back up that. And we had so.
Wow.
Turns out you can't link those two riding.
You say yes to a lot of stuff.
More doors open that way.
Hey, you ain't kidding.
That's right.
But wow.
Yeah.
So how many forests have you burned down?
Exactly. We're going to
This particular date and time 0.
Hey, no, we have lawyers. We're fine. Statute of limitations.
Totally.
Mine wasn't a fire. I used to live in Bolivia for a couple years, and I had a dirt bike, and a friend of mine had a dirt bike there, and we would so Cochabamba, where I live, the city's kind of like on this plateau. Not super high up like La Paz, but not down in the jungle either. But Cochabamba basically is a city that formed because of the cocaine trade back in the 70s and 80s, where that's where the cartels would go with their families and stuff, because they call it the eternal city of springtime, right? It's just nice temperature all year round. And so we would just go riding wherever. And one day we're riding, and a bunch of horses show up with guys with M16s.
Oh boy.
And we're like, okay.
This is new.
Right? What's going on here? Totally cool. They're like, who are you? I'm like, I'm a teacher in town, and this is my buddy. He's a mechanic. Cool. We're going to escort you off this piece of land right now. You can make the assumptions of why we were being escorted there.
Yeah.
But they made sure, don't run.
No problem.
Yeah, we're like, we're good.
Yep.
You just point us the direction you want
Where
us
would
to
you
go.
like my hands?
Yeah.
But they were so nice about it, they took us to dinner afterwards.
No.
Still with their M16s.
Now, is that a little cringy? Like every once in a while when you're going, wait, are we actually, is this our last meal?
You like the food, right? Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Great, it's yours.
It's so
No,
good.
I mean, considering what you're going to assume it's all about, and that's all I was going to do was assume, they were the nicest people.
Huh.
Like, they recognized we weren't anything that was going to interfere. We
Got us
just were
right,
places we weren't supposed to be.
The
we didn't know.
cartels are people too. Right? I mean, come on.
Right?
They have a heart.
Right? Yeah.
I don't really, I'm Ron Burgundy.
So, no, we didn't set the place on fire, but we could have been set on fire.
Yeah, no kidding.
Damn, that's like, y'all make me sound like I ain't been nowhere. And I've been like literally everywhere in this country.
So that's one of the, when you're talking about riding around the world, every time I go to a new city internationally, I find out if they have dirt bikes for rent.
Yeah.
So I've done it in Bolivia, I've done it in Istanbul, I've done it in Argentina, I've done it in a couple other towns as well. And it's just fun because you'll always find this local who has dirt bikes. It's either they just have an extra one they want to share and I got a recommendation, or it's an actual company. But I'll get a guide and we'll just go and, like, I don't speak Turkish. Didn't matter. We spoke motorcycles.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
I officiated my friend's wedding. This is like a really, I mean, not only do I absolutely love this person and his wife, but the wedding was in Costa Rica. And he was like, Dumptruck, we want you to marry us. I was like, absolutely. So grab the flight, go down there. This time, I haven't even started being an ambassador for BMW yet. And it just came out in conversation that I was going down there for a bunch of motorcycle buddies, and 2 of them are getting married. And oh, wow. Well, we have a company down there. Do you want us to link up some BMWs for you and a tour to go on some adventure riding? I was like, what?
Yeah, right.
And I'm a street. Like, I love dirt. I have done almost none of it. But I mean, I know exactly how dope it is. It's obviously dope. And so it was just like, do you want to go do this? Like, absolutely, yes, I do. And we got to
say yes to
3
a lot of
days.
stuff.
Man, you ain't lying. And it's a whole new addiction. Like, we were on a bunch of GSs, and like those things love to wheelie.
Oh, yeah.
On purpose or on accident. Like, they're there for it. And we just had the absolute best time doing something that was nothing like any other motorcycle trip that I've ever been on. And I'm looking at a Himalayan trip for either later this year or early next year, because I want to do more of that. I want to get more in the global community on a motorcycle.
Are you gonna be on a Himalayan too? Like,
That's
just
what I
really
was
round
wondering
out?
in my head.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean,
Yeah.
you got to complete the circle.
It'll be on a Royal Enfield, so I'm assuming it's
Tomato,
a Himalayan.
tomato.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm still. That's rad. Like, all the things that I haven't done. Have you ever done an international travel like that on a motorcycle?
No, well, Greece once on an island, but that doesn't count as truly international. But
Right.
Yeah.
Greece is
It
not
was
around
pretty
the
cool.
corner, but-
And it was fun to do for a few hours of riding around this ancient island on a motorcycle. It was very
And
cool.
then go back to the Sheik's yacht.
Yeah, it was cool. Donkeys and things and people and cliffs. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, that is international.
I guess I
travel.
forgot. You're right. I guess yeah.
Downplaying your life's experience, Scott. You've
right.
done so much. And you really do a lot for this community, and you're doing a lot for yours as well. And of course, it's the same. Where do you want to see Motorado grow to? Like, you're at a great place. It's a great business with a great reputation. Where's it going?
Man, I think about that question daily, and honestly, I'm not sure yet. I do have some goals for Motorado just to expand it more within the location that we have. Some of the 2 main ideas I have: one, probably next year at the latest, I want to start offering service. Right, I want to be able to. We're selling used bikes, right, and they're consignment bikes, so there's a lot of trust, and it's a reputation that Motorado has earned. And right now, we do a 50-mile same-day guarantee. Like, hey, if it's not working, if you don't like the color, bring it back. We'll make you whole one way or the other. Yeah. But I want to be able to offer service so we can ensure the higher quality of what we're selling, and also when bikes. You just want some work done. You don't necessarily want to go to the big franchise dealerships. You want to keep the relationship with Motorado. We want to offer that. Yeah. On the other hand, where else can use a Motorado? Right? Because it's not just selling bikes. There's a community aspect as well, especially with that consignment model. You're bringing in your prized possession and you're letting it go, and so many times it's bittersweet, right? And a lot of times it becomes more sweet because I've had people walk out the door with a different bike. No intention. Just happened on Friday.
Right.
Guy sold us a bike, or consigned a bike, and he's like, "Ooh, I like that Triumph Double. Let me just take that out the door with me right now, since I rode here anyway."
Right.
So where else can Motorado bring its love of the
Call an Uber or to get
Right?
another motorcycle. I really like where this is going.
Right?
Yeah.
Revolving door is what we need.
Right.
So that's where I want Motorado to go, is expanding the community and the passion that we bring and everyone brings to us, and just seeing where else it can gain a footprint.
Yeah.
I dig that. And there's a lot of different styles of riding between the both of you. And like the involvement that you have, it has to give you a great perspective, if not maybe even a required perspective, being a rider and protecting riders that are out there. Is that something you require?
No, I mean, he brings that in spades. And then, also because of his background in service side of the shop, is also then really understands the property damage side of things in a way that just isn't normal, because everybody's like, oh, we're motorcycle lawyers or whatever, all these other people out there trying to pretend, because they like, oh, they're cases, but they don't even help with property damage. We do that for free, and he knows what the hell he's doing, and
they do.
gear and everything else, and can talk the language with them in a real and a genuine way that just is invaluable, I think, in what you do, and make them feel comfortable, which is just amazing. Yeah.
Did you see like having that knowledge as a superpower before you went into being into law school and all that, going, with this knowledge I can do this, or I'm going to be a lawyer and that's what really is going to make the difference?
Not really. I kind of got lucky and fell into it. I just
Sounds like you both got lucky.
Well, you very intentionally had reached out to my firm originally because of the motorcycle side of things.
Well, that is
the
true.
PI side
Yeah,
of it,
the
right?
passion's
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess once I decided I wanted to do personal injury law, I did realize that. But going into law school, it wasn't a plan. I just knew that, I love to argue. I used to do it for free. Now I can get paid for it.
Yeah, right.
It's a no-brainer.
Lean into your strengths, people. I mean, that's one of the lessons you should get here from today.
I know this is your show, but can I ask a question?
No.
Okay.
Time's up.
That's another great episode.
I'm just wondering because with personal injury, there is that stigmatism that goes with it. But you guys, personal injury does not do you guys justice. Has that been an uphill battle for you guys to overcome?
I love you have a saying about percentages.
Oh, yes, 98% of the attorneys make the other 2% look bad.
Yeah. I mean,
That's pretty fair.
Yeah.
I could go through 100 lawyer jokes right now that I'm not gonna.
They could probably do about 300.
Exactly. No, actually, I wipe my mind of them. I don't know any of them. But no, it's there's a reason I don't have many friends in that side of the industry. I have a lot of lawyer friends. I have a lot of connections. We see it as a vocation. It still has to be a business. We still have to help the world. We still got to do things, pay the bills. But it's more of a vocation, right? And I think once you lose that sense of vocation, this is what I became a lawyer for. He's joking about arguing, but really, he's also counseling every single day. I'm counseling with the clients that we meet. I'm doing the strategy of cases. We're talking about litigation. We're doing all this stuff. That's the stuff that we love to do, but we also happen to love this community. For me, it started because of friends growing up and me doing the dirt and all that kind of stuff too as a kid. And then a friend of mine dying while I was in law school on his bike. And having my first case in '98 with this family, I was like, yeah, this is something I want to be more a part of. Started reaching out to more just writing groups and doing more philanthropic stuff. And then it's sort of grown. When he first joined me, there was no Rider Justice. It was the O'Sullivan Law Firm trying to get its name out there in the community, and we've pivoted in a big way. But it's it's interesting. It's the firm that he worked for before. Good lawyers there, but totally different business model. And it's just it's hard. It makes it I don't want to. We're just good at what we do, and we're not trying to do it for thousands of people a month. We're trying to do it for the ones that really need our help.
Well, what sold me on you guys was there's practicing law, then there's writing law, right? There's talking the talk, and then there's walking the walk. And what you have done in Colorado to help better the laws around protection for motorcycle riders, for safety, how do you compare with that? That's what makes you guys stand out, is the dedication you put in, not just to the law, but the community that can benefit from new laws.
Right. Yeah, and I appreciate that. For me, it's the love of the community that gets me there to help write these laws that I've helped write and be a part of. And I'm not getting paid. I'm not a lobbyist. This is not, my joke and entry of almost every testimony I've done in front of Congress here in the state is like, this is against my best interest. Right? This is, I am trying to save people.
Yeah.
And it usually gets a chuckle out of them. And and it's, to me, it's just important. And it's because we've been talking about this whole week. Or whole weekend. Feels like a month now. And,
that hurts.
no, in a good way. Is community, like it's just the way it is. Yeah. And if you're not part of it, you're not going to understand.
Yeah.
And then if you are, you're going to do whatever it takes. Yeah. And he and I can find other careers. If all of a sudden everybody's safe and nothing's happening, we're fine.
More time to ride.
Exactly. More time to do things we love, right? Exactly. Yeah. So I appreciate that. But it's interesting. Yeah.
It definitely is. And so you guys support the community by literally being our protectors. Like in our worst case scenario, you're in the middle of that yourself. And you support it by really trying to guide people down the proper path. And you're going to be offering more services to it as well. What other places in motorcycles do you think you see that?
Really, it's the people. Whether you're a business, whether you're part of a community group, a Facebook group, a group that just gathers together with like-minded and you ride, it's those people who are on the inside and really just try to share that passion. Like I always joke, my lifelong goal is to be able to get every Harley rider to do the 2-finger salute with me, right? Like I don't want
I don't do it with anybody.
segmentations, right? You don't do it with
In
anybody.
my brain, I'm like,
with
put your hands
everybody.
in your handlebar, bro.
But don't segment. Keep your hands down. Right?
Ride your motorcycle. Great, you bought one. Sweet. We shop at the same black t-shirt store. Let's go.
So to your question, it's the individuals that I'm meeting that are more often than not part of something bigger, but not necessarily, even just the ones like Dead Name Moto, right? They're a community that started last year, has really brought a lot of enthusiasm and energy to what they believe in, which is phenomenal. And they're just organically, slowly building that out, right? And so that's another thing that I love about the communities. It's hard to just pick any one person because, like you said, inside looking out, you have so much more of a vantage point to see how you can help and how you can guide.
That's cool. Do you have any plans to like instill any of your like racing history and interest like into your business model at all?
Oh, absolutely. I just picked up a race bike
that's
last year.
the right question.
So this is a 2003 Honda CRF 450R.
Oh, nice.
Traditionally a dirt bike thumper, converted to a race bike, built by Bart over at Imperial Motorsports, Superbike, sorry. And it's been raced by a couple guys. It's been at Daytona twice, one in lightweight class, but it's a 450, so I'm not going to get hurt if I do something stupid.
Right.
It allows me to get back to my racing roots, which to me, crashing does not hurt. Crashing into things does. There's nothing really to crash into on the track. So I want to bring that in. We're going to rewrap it with Motorado, and depending on how good I am after 15 years of not racing, again, I seem to be really sucking at math today. After many years of not racing, it'll be fun to see how I do.
Motorcycles over math. I think that's your next t-shirt.
That's a fraction, right? Motorcycles over math.
It is now. Are you? Do you have any plans to dabble in flat track at all? I mean, like Colorado has a lot of that goes around.
I love flat track. When I was younger, I went through Rich Oliver, who used to be like the winningest 250 in MotoGP. He had a flat track school, went with a bunch of friends and some TT 125s, Yamahas. We just flat tracked the fuck out of that place. I hope I could curse.
No, absolutely.
Cool.
Just shut the fuck up and keep going.
Wait, now I'm good. Shut up or keep going. What are we doing?
That's right.
We were just talking about like Four Corners, them having flat tracks. Flat tracking for me is just, it's the cheesecake of being on a motorcycle. It's all out. It's NASCAR, it's racing, it's MotoGP. Hell, you do it with baggers, you do it with a 125, it doesn't matter. How much can you get that slide in? Going fast on a straight line, those corners, the lean, the cricking of the front end, that's racing, that's riding. So I love flat tracking.
Did you ever do that at Kenny?
I did. I did a flat track class with Scotty Parker, and one of the proudest moments of my motorcycling career was I put him into the hay bales.
Nice.
Of course, every time he came by me, he'd grab my rear fender and just toss me onto the dirt. Like 3 or 4 times.
He's like, he's
like, fine, you get one, I get the rest of it.
I got to tell you, nothing improved my riding more than that class. I mean, just knowing how to ride a bike when it's sort of loose and on the edge, it translates to everything. It was
that's awesome.
And like furthering your education as a rider is like something that we all should be focused on with a lot of our time. What style of class would you actually recommend to someone maybe who hasn't taken an advanced class before? Be like, I really need to do more dirt riding because you feel a lot more. There's a lot more forgiveness there, and that just seems sexy to me. And I also know that every single person that I'm familiar with that started in the dirt is way better than everybody else that started on the street.
Absolutely.
So I feel like I almost need to take a couple steps back and go get a little bit dirty. Do I take a flat track class? Do I take an adventure class? Like, what would you say to that?
Well, I think a flat track class is going to translate on the street a lot more immediately.
Right.
I think riding dirt bikes, you learn balance and control, and something you also learn is how not to panic, because you're just about going from accident to accident, it seems.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
So you learn to keep your head when, okay, I'm sideways going 30 miles an hour and there's a tree there. It becomes so common that you don't panic.
And that's also a distinct thing too, where you're looking where you want to go, not what you don't want to hit.
Yes.
Hopefully.
Right. Hopefully that's right. Because
that's the idea. Because target fixation is overrated.
Yes, it is. That's exactly right. Yeah.
So is meeting the target.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, hey, there you are. Oh, there you are. How did this happen?
Yeah, but I think my street biking got several levels higher after the flat track class. I don't know if they're doing it anymore, but
there's classes in key areas, racing towns. Like there's a class I know that's now in Kentucky. There's some stuff down in Florida.
Okay, but nothing.
Let me tell you about my dream
Please.
course. Colin Edwards from MotoGP down in Texas. He's got a Texas boot camp, flat track boot camp. So not only are you riding around flat tracking, but in between you're going shooting.
Nice.
Clay shooting, long distance, pistols. He's got a whole experience.
Nice.
And so that's one of the things in the next couple of years I want to go to. And I want to meet Colin Edwards. He's one of the best riders ever. Hero of mine as well. Like he was Rossi's teammate for a long while. Great rider, great guy. Just he's funny,
Apparently
sardonic.
loves fun because what a hell of a business
Yeah,
model. Well, you know what?
Yeah, that's right.
I think I'm just gonna do a Texas hell yeah motorcycle class, and that's just what we do. Honey, go get the 45.
Right.
Or the Barrett 50 cal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right,
He's
right.
got the space
Did the
for
tank
it.
come in yet?
Yeah,
Or
right.
there?
So,
that sounds
like,
dope.
there's things like that, but at the same time, in Colorado, go buy a dirt bike and just hit the roads, the dirt roads. Just learn how to be comfortable with that movement, right? Just that, like, flat track brings a more targeted familiarity with the bike really sliding out, but just spending time on a dirt bike on a dirt road, you don't even have to go single track.
Right.
Yeah.
Just get used to, like, hey, when you're on the street, your front brake is your best friend.
Right.
On a dirt, it's your back brake, right?
yeah,
that's
It's
right. Totally
80-20 on a street bike, it's 20-80 on a dirt bike. So just learn how to use both, learn how things move around. Best thing
How
you
does
can
that go?
ever do. Oh yeah.
That is the
Yes.
motion. Yeah.
I can't dance, but I can smooth my hips on a ride. Yeah.
Maybe you got moves. I'm on a flat track ride right now.
That's right. Maybe that's what I should bring to dancing.
Like suddenly you've improved drastically.
Dancing with
You
the
learned how to
stars, here I
dance.
come.
Yeah. At the motocross course. Well, do we want to do the
Yeah.
Rolling Thunder? Yes. So we try to do this thing called the lightning round, but it just turns into more stories. So it's more like Rolling Thunder, and we've embraced it.
Yeah.
Kind of didn't have a choice. We did that to ourselves.
Exactly.
So y'all have been all over the planet, and one thing I would really like to know is which road do you want to go back to? What is the favorite road that you've ridden where you're like, man, if I could create that again or simply revisit it, like where would that be?
You'd really want to burn down the desert the next time.
No.
That one I hope is off the list.
That's
Down
off
the
the
house.
list.
I think I'd like to go back to Death Valley. I went there in the 90s sometime with some friends, and we were riding, mostly rocky dirt roads. And we get to the top of this long butte. We spend some time, and then we decide to have a race with the bikes off going down. And there were two strokes, so you didn't have oiling issues. And you just do dead engine race going down. And, you can hear everything. You can yell at each other. And it's who's going to break last. And I would love to do that again with those people.
That sounds, what were you
that's
riding?
awesome.
That was a CR250 back then, I think. Probably.
Something about that two-stroke.
Oh,
Even
yeah.
in a snowmobile, that sound like
Stink sound.
sell me.
Exactly
Yep.
right. Yep.
So where do you want to go back to?
I got one I want to go back to and one I never want to do again.
Fair. I like it. Both
I'm
sides.
from LA, so Angeles Crest, just riding up there, so smooth, so undulating. I don't even remember the street name, but it's about 6.5 miles, and it starts as an offshoot, and it basically connects these two roads. So a bunch of friends, and there's so much nostalgia in this. We would plant people at the ends with walkie-talkies so that we would know we had 6.5 miles of no cars.
That's awesome.
And it was just time trials, right? Or not, just going and having a semi-close course that you can go riding on. So just the fun of that and not have to worry. You pre-ride it, you know where the gravel is, you get it out of the way, you know there's no cars coming, so it's as close as you can get to a track without being on a track. So that's just nostalgia for me, a very fun one. The other one, which I had a blast doing, but I never want to do again, is in Bolivia, the world's most dangerous road. Right? So imagine being on a 125 going down this road where over here it's a 1,000-foot drop, and you can look down and you have to look over the edge to really see the bottom of it. That was one of those things where you're going, you pick up a little confidence, and then you make a slight little mistake and you brake, you feel the front tire wash it a little bit, you're like, okay, we won't be doing that again.
Break.
Exactly.
Yeah. That made me
That's-
nervous
I
just
can't
listening to it.
Right, yeah.
There's a few experiences where you're like, I'm really glad I did that, and I'm also stoked to not do it again.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Check.
right.
It's
Yeah,
called
exactly.
character building.
Yeah. Part of the deep well you can pull off from later.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
All right, I love that. Two of the best answers, I think. All right, here's a controversial question. Sweet pickle or dill?
Dill.
All right.
All the way dill. Sweet pickles? No thanks.
Wrong again, Scott.
You must be from the South or something.
I grew up with dill.
Sweet pickles
and
are just
sweet
gross.
pickle. I'm good with dill too, but I'd rather have a spicy sweet dill pickle.
I want my sweets coming from something else. For some reason, pickles scream crisp,
Totally get it.
cold, a little bit of like a sourness to them.
Yeah,
I think it's
absolutely.
because my dad, the little tiny ones in the jar, like the jerkins or gherkins.
yeah.
I just loved those as a kid. And, like just pop those.
You know what's
in.
weird is I don't like cut in circular little thin
Yeah,
ones.
yeah,
I
yeah.
like my spears.
Yeah.
I will
Totally
judge
get it.
a whole sandwich shop on the pickle because that's
Oh, yeah.
like your
That is the
finisher,
thing.
right?
Yeah,
And
agreed.
I'll be like, oh, this sandwich was great. And I'll be like, was it? Let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they gotta be
There's
crisp.
not
Yeah,
one
they gotta be
situation where
great.
anyone likes when this happens. So
Exactly.
y'all need to pick up your
Yeah.
pickle game.
Exactly.
Well, I don't know why that question's been so good for us. Maybe because I just get to tell you how wrong you are.
Yeah.
It's like a Tinder
Doesn't
first date
happen.
question.
Yeah, exactly.
Or whatever platform you use.
I don't even know that this one kind of applies.
I'm getting worried.
TikTok.
And the producer's like, why is there dead air?
Like,
What
why
is
is that for the
happening?
first time? For the first time, there is. Oh, out on the road, there's a lot of traveling that happens. Sometimes there's markets available, sometimes there's not. What would you find to be like your favorite road food? Because that stuff's important. It's not just like, oh, bro, this burger was so great. It's like, for me, it's like easy access, something that I could take, fix myself. It's hearty. I'll be good. Because when you're dirt bagging, you're not really trying to like think about the food part so much sometimes, depending on where you are.
Oh, well, that's an easy one. Burritos. And the trick is you get them to wrap it in.
Yeah.
You got to have them wrap it in 2 layers of foil, you know, because you're going down the road, you pull over, you put it on top of the engine, you ride for 20 minutes, and it's piping hot.
And you're ready.
Yeah.
You don't carry a microwave with you?
That's overlanding.
Oh, okay, gotcha. You got glamping for motorcycles.
Glamping, yeah, that's right.
Burrito, I think, is probably the most efficient thing on the road because
Yeah.
there's sometimes too where like you're smashing 1,000 miles or something like that, and that's 15 and a half hours if you're just barely going over the speed limit, and that's a long day. And it's like I don't want to stop. I'm not here to like satisfy anything other than sustenance. And I've taken burritos and stuffed them in the inside of my jacket.
Yeah.
And just sit that down
Burritos
enough.
could be shaped like this, like this.
And people are driving by, and I'm like, "Here's chorizo's good." Yeah, I have
chorizo.
back in my pocket, just like
The other one
tater
is
tots or
gorp.
something. You know, say again.
Gorp.
I don't know what that is.
Trail mix.
But yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
a
yeah.
military expression. It's grain,
We had a ship with a kitchen on
oats,
it, so we
peanuts,
never needed
Yeah.
that.
raisins. So
Raisins,
it's
yeah.
granola, raisins, oats, and peanuts.
Yeah, that sounds excellent.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
Just prep that and take it with you.
just make sure you got a lot of water.
yeah, that's always
water
the key.
is key.
One of the places where I've needed a lot of water is actually out in Death Valley. It gets so hot
yeah.
out there.
Yeah.
Like I've had days where if I hadn't have ridden for the 45 seconds it was a bag of ice on my tank, like you could feel all of the pinging on the side of your fuel tank because it was so hot out there.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, an air-cooled old by all the things you're not supposed to be doing. And sometimes a bag of ice is like, you need that literal almost 45 seconds of cool down for not just your gas, but also for your body. It's like, please, oh my God, save my life right now.
I mean, your bike's just radiating heat up to your body to absorb too.
Ready. Right. Yeah.
Yep, just got to keep moving. Don't stop.
Yeah, don't stop. The air-cooled needs you to keep on moving. The shade will not work here.
Nope.
I've lost a lot of things out in Death Valley. I had a cell phone fly out of my pocket, like out of the blue one time.
Lost my innocence.
I don't think I was there for that.
Well, that seems like a good place to end it. Well, thanks, boys. I really appreciate it. Eli, I really appreciate it too. Of course. I actually, you know what? I do want you to tell the one story of where one of the rides and the roll of stuff across the road.
Oh yeah, I was living in San Diego, and I was coming back from visiting a friend, and on the highway, 80 miles an hour, just tooling along. It's dark out, there's no street lights, and all of a sudden in the road ahead of me is this PVC tube that's probably this big, and it's right across my lane, and there's just no way I'm going to avoid it. I can't. So you get all the way back, and you pop the clutch, and you try and get that front wheel over it. And it turns out it's a batten filled with cotton that had fallen off and just goes boom. I had to pull over because I was just, I'm alive!
Oh my God, it was nothing. It's never nothing.
But
Oh my
I'm
God.
like, okay, this is how it ends.
That is a very personal moment on the side of the road.
Yeah.
I've definitely had those where I'm like, okay, nobody saw that. All right. If I don't tell anyone, they'll never know. The first thing I do is go tell somebody.
Right.
Or the opposite, like, did someone see that? Like, please, don't let me be the only witness.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, right,
yeah.
right.
You saw that, right?
Yeah.
No, I haven't been crying.
I'm not crying, you're crying. It's the wind, man. The wind is in my eye.
Onions in the burrito.
Well, awesome. Very much appreciated, Trey.
Thank you so much, Scott.
Eli,
I do too.
thank you.
I'm
Appreciate
leaving
it.
this one inspired in a way to
Yeah.
go find myself some dirt and go add to the adventure. I hope you get inspired by some of the things we've been doing here at Chasing the Ride.
Oh,
What?
a producer just reminded me. Tell this camera, Trey, how they can find you, what to look for, all
Isn't
that
she
kind of
great?
stuff. Yep,
Oh,
she's
wonderful.
great. Yep.
You can find Motorado at motorado.com. We're also located at 6th and Sheridan in Denver at moto.rado on Instagram. Come on in, say hi. We'd love to have you over.
And Eli, how about you?
Well, you can
How do you find
me
us?
at- you can find me at the O'Sullivan Law Firm or Rider Justice. We're at 600 North Ogden Street.
Or
in
Don's
Denver.
Tavern.
Yeah. Don's Mixed Drinks, yeah.
Or any random dirt bike track around the country.
There you go.
Yeah. Nice. Thank you, boys.
Thanks, everybody.
job.
Thank y'all for
Yeah.
being here for the show. We are so blessed to wrap it up here at Colorado Motorcycle Expo. My name's Dumptruck. This is Mr. Scott O'Sullivan, the O'Sullivan Law Firm. We're out of here. Work it out.